Yeah. So tell me, you mentioned about the impact of sickle cell on you growing up and relationships with friends and how you felt like you couldn't share your condition. What kind of impact has sickle cell had on your life, and your professional life and kind of working and training to be a pharmacist?
Yeah, so it's had its, it's definitely had its impact, because there are so many. For me, I know what my triggers are, and obviously the route that I've taken, the career route that I've taken has, many stresses, and stress is one of the known triggers that I get that can sort of cause a crisis. So it has definitely had its impact. I mean, I wasn't able to go to university at the same time as my friends did, because I missed an exam because of a crisis, and the university said, it was, important that I sat that exam, to get the result. So it essentially, I, delayed my sort of route onto the career ladder by a year because of crises. And then even whilst at university, that was really, really difficult, because I would still get, crisis, while studying. I mean, and then coming into employment, it's just, yeah, again, still the same thing. I was in a highly pressurized environment, working in, acute medicine, general training for me as a pharmacist, which was, again, really a highly pressurized environment, doing on calls, late nights, the whole thing. So it definitely has had its toll, being chronically tired, and having to balance, the work-life balance and look after my health as well. So it's definitely had a big impact.
Have you found that with the kind of the crisis that you have, the kind of need to go to hospital for those acute crises, and on top of that, the number of appointments that you've had to have throughout the year, does that have an impact on your time away from work and how you can actually focus on work?
Oh, yeah, 100%. I mean, the burden of disease that sickle cell brings is quite high. So I was, really fortunate that, working in the healthcare setting, I had line managers who had, an understanding. And it wasn't until I started my first job that I decided that, I would really need to start telling my employers that this is what I suffer with, just so that they could, be aware. And so they wouldn't think, negatively towards any absence, if I wasn't around, and they would, just generally understand what I was going through. But it definitely has had a big impact on in a good year, I would say I have to have, appointments at least maybe six times a year. And that's being stable. And it definitely is a lot more, if I'm more unwell.
Yeah, I mean, that's, the kind of human cost and the impact on your day to day is phenomenal. Forgetting, to one side, having to miss days maybe because of the episodes or the crises. On top of that, you've got to then miss extra days because of appointments, and that impact on trying to stay in employment can be very, very difficult. A very difficult thing to experience.